This is the Be the Solution podcast, and I'm your host, Maria Quattrone. And today's quote is whether you think you can or think you can't, either way, you are right. Henry Ford. I love that quote. And today I'm going to welcome my guest, Anthony DiCicco. Anthony is a Zillow premier agent and a real estate industry veteran with almost 2 decades of experience and hundreds of sales under his belt. He's been in sales his entire life. He started out his real estate career 18 years ago, working on investment properties, renovations, and new construction. Anthony became a fully licensed agent 11 years ago, specializing in luxury home sales. He's a buyer agent, listing agent for Bucks, Montgomery, and Philadelphia areas. His team has extensive knowledge of the competitive real estate market, and they are excellent negotiators. They will work as hard as possible to make sure they have the best buying experience. Welcome, Anthony.
Good afternoon. How are you, Marie?
I'm ready to rock and roll with you.
Listen, I've been so excited about this day. I've been emailing you like let's get this game day. Let's get this thing rocking and rolling, right?
LFG.
That's right. That's right. Let's rock this thing.
So, Anthony, you've been in the business just under a couple decades, and we were talking in the green room, so to speak, about what agents need to do today. And they ask you, and you tell them.
Well, I tell them a lot of things, right? But it's getting them to do the steps to get there. And a lot of agents still say, well, I don't have a budget that you have. Well, just remember one thing. I started out with a zero budget, right? Because I was in the car business a lot of my life. I was always in sales. I was always doing something to make a dollar. And real estate, I've been in real estate for a long time. And as far as license, I was licensed in 2010. So for pretty much 14 years of this, and I've been through some different markets. What most people ask me is, what can I do to better my business? What can I do to get more leads? What are you doing to maintain more leads? And I tell them I do a lot of Zillow business, and they look at me like I'm nuts. Zillow stinks. Zillow's this. They list the whole, what's wrong with Zillow. And look, Zillow may not work for everybody, because if you can't close leads, then Zillow is not going to work for you. But you have to learn how to close the leads. You have to learn how to do follow-up. You have to learn how to be consistent. There's a lot of things to this business that they just feel that, I don't think they get. And I try to help them. I'm big on Google. I'm big on reviews. How many leads have I gotten from just somebody reading my reviews on Google or on Zillow? Over 100 5-star reviews. So at the end of the day, I try to tell people, especially in my office, we hold, some classes, and we hold some things with postcard marketing and sending out farming to different areas. And they feel that the cost sometimes is too much money. But if you can just take $150 and send out 150 postcards, you might get one out of them. But you have to be consistent with that. So
consistency, no doubt, is key. And you're talking about a lot of really good things. I want to dig a little bit deeper into this, Anthony, and what you do on a daily basis to make the sales that you do. How many people do you talk to, text, email, send videos? What do you do? What does your day look like?
My goal is to at least talk to 40 people a day. That's my goal. And my phone alone, I have over 1,200 texts in my phone. And I'm a little bit crazy, and and I need to learn working on systems, putting more systems in place with this kind of stuff, because I physically text every single person through my phone instead of using 2 CRMs, which I should be utilizing. I'm texting them personally from my personal phone number. Hey, how you doing? Hope all is well. Have you seen any properties? I have over 300 people on auto emails. Some I might have not spoken to in 6 months. And next, you get an email saying, hey, I just seen 3 houses that I want to see. And I'm like, who the hell is this? And then I'll look back at my phone. I'm like, oh, that's who that is. I talked to them last May. So I try to talk to 40 people a day. I try to get as many reviews as I possibly can from the clients that I did, have settlements with, and then try to set up my days as far as my showings. Past weekend, it's been a little weird lately from the holidays, but this past weekend I had 5 clients, 13 showings, which is my normal, which is what it should be, how I feel, the last 4 years have been going. So I try to talk through like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is more follow-up, consistent follow-up, getting new leads from Zillow or wherever they're coming from, and even my listings, making sure myself, being in contact with everybody I possibly can be in contact with that I'm doing business with. Please.
So, okay, 40 people a day, 40 conversations on the phone, on the text? How
Text
do you,
message. I do text message and I do emails.
you don't, so what about the phone?
Phone, I lack on the phone, but I'm a texter. It's funny. You could call me and I won't answer, but if you text me, I'll return text. And I seem to feel that has been way more people are like that today. Because look, when I get home sometimes, a lot, and I give people the effort. I congratulate them on the effort for doing cold calling, because that's, for me, I don't do it. Maybe I should do it, but I guess the rejection part of it is where I kind of get like, wait a minute, these just hung up on me. And then I get my Italian comes out of me. So I feel that a text message, a warm, nice text message with saying like, hey, this is Anthony DiCicco. We spoke so and so long ago, or whatever the case may be. I feel text works more for me, but maybe I should start doing some more things as far as cold calling, because that's another good source.
So you have about 40 either emails or texts that you do every single day.
Yes.
And what time do you start your day?
Well, my kids wake me up about 7:00, and then my wife's blow drying her hair. So I'm usually up by like 7:00, and then, I'll lollygag around a little bit, but then usually I'm ready by like 9:00, ready to rock and roll.
So you're rocking and rolling at 9, and what time do you finish?
There's no time limit. 2:00, 3:00 in the morning. Sometimes I'll pass out at the table at 12 at midnight, on the computer, on my phone. So I don't have a limitation when I stop at night, which I should.
So what are you doing at from 10 to 12?
I'm in the office.
10 p.m.
I'm at my breakfast island in my kitchen, laptop, phone set up, just texting and emailing and just checking and doing everything I possibly can to make sure that the next day is set up.
That's a lot of texting and emailing. So I'm curious, you have about 40 a day that you're reaching out to people. Do a lot of people respond?
So out of the 40, probably you might get, on a good day, you'll get like maybe 13 to 16 people will respond. So the ones that didn't respond, I'll mark them down as non-respond, then I'll hit them again the next day. And I'll keep hitting them, and I'll keep texting them, and sometimes they won't respond. Sometimes you'll get blocked. I mean, I'm not scared to consistently text somebody. I know a lot of people, like I tell people on my team, like, you got to keep texting. And they'll turn around and say, well, yeah, I texted them. I did that. I'm like, okay, when? Well, I did it last Monday. Well, it's Friday. But I don't want to feel like I'm bothering these people until they tell you to stop. Free game. Keep doing it. I'm in stalker mode. I'm a stage 3 clinger. I will stalk you to death. Okay.
You got me to laugh. I love it. So what did that 40 a day give you last year in buyers, sellers?
Last year,
we know last year was not the best. So
it was a roller coaster ride. I started off the year good, and then, I was changing brokerages and changing other brokerages. And so I had a lot going on last year. I still did finish off strong, because I got the worst anxiety anybody can have. I panic over everything. Like I walk around sometimes, I'm just like, oh my God, am I going to do what I did last month? I worry about everything. And that's just the way I was built. Right. So last year I actually had a decent year, but out of those consistent follow-ups, I did pretty well. I finished off with $38 million, which was a lesser year than I did the prior year.
And that's about how many sides?
It's almost 50-50 even, but I think I had more buys. I probably had, it was like 60-40.
Yeah. How many units?
77.
So we know if you want to have 77 units, you got to probably do the work you're doing. How many hours do you think you work a week?
Man, I mean, I work 7 days a week, and thankfully my wife is very supportive. I would say over 80 to 100 hours.
80 to 100 hours. And when most people hear that are in the real estate industry, what do they think?
They think I'm stupid.
Stupid.
They think I'm stupid because they feel that I should work hard but not unhealthy.
Right.
And they feel that what I'm doing is just unhealthy. And I know it's unhealthy because I go to the hospital twice a year. I think I told you that before.
Yes, I know about the 2 times a year.
Yeah, I get checked. I just make sure I get a tune-up.
A couple days in there, a couple IVs.
CAT scans, you name it, it's getting done. But being where I'm at Keller Williams Newtown and ownership, Justin and John, who are absolutely just fantastic people, taught me a lot that you don't get enough time. Time is really what we don't have enough of. And by spending all my time working and worrying, I'm going to wake up one day and I'm going to be like, what happened? And I take that into consideration because I have a family, I have a wife, I have 4 kids, I have a grandchild, I have a mother, I have a lot of family to take care of, and I love my clients. So sometimes I put business first, and sometimes it's not fair to my family.
Yeah, I understand that. It definitely is for some of us a hard thing to work through. And I asked you a question.
Mhm.
Are you enjoying the journey?
I love what I do. I actually I love this business. I love making friends. I love making, like, my clients love me back. Like this weekend, they invited me to their kid's birthday. Like I go to the Christmas parties, Halloween parties. Like that's the beauty of this business. I love that. I love the relationship building, not just selling a house. I do love what I do, and I enjoy it. I like waking up every day and coming to the office and doing this.
Yeah, I can see your passion. I hear it in your voice, and I see it on social media. Do you feel like you need to carve out more time for yourself?
Yeah, because I'm missing my Botox appointments and I'm missing my tanning sessions, and a lot of things that I want to start doing that I can't do because I'm always worried about business. Like, look, this year starting off, I have business on the books and the team has business on the books, but I feel that it's not quite there yet. It's still like that lagging process to get that. Like I'm showing property, but it's hard to kind of lock down contracts right now for me. So I'm just trying to figure that out and what's going on, and just I want to get through that. And I think so. My anxiety kicks in, right? So now I'm like, oh my god, I'm going out of business. Like I start thinking the worst. I'm the worst. I'm such a hypochondriac. It's not even funny.
Well, that's not good,
No.
but you have to be able to figure out how to work through that so you can work through the rest of it.
And that's the thing with with ownership here. Like for instance, like speaking with my owners, Justin Gold, who's amazing. I need more systems to be put in place, and that's what I'm working on doing. The more systems in place makes me able to breathe more, to enjoy life more, to have other things working for me, so I'm not working as hard and bringing all my time into this. I want to be there for all my clients, but I also want to be there for my family. So if they go to the shore, we go on vacation, I can focus and not work. I went to Florida in August that just passed. I haven't been there since Honey, I Shrunk the Kids came out in 1989. Right. So I want to go to Disney. You know what I mean? So at the meantime, I'm closing deals out there. I'm bringing my computer out there. I have my work out there. I'm going during the day, but I should be at the pool or I should be whatever else is going on.
To be present.
Correct.
We get into real estate for the opportunity to help others, for the opportunity of itself. And real estate's designed to be able to live our life of our dreams, but yet you got to live the life. You got to live the dreams.
That's the thing. I want the dreams, and I think I'm doing better. Ever since I found my new home here, I've been feeling a lot better, and having more coaching and having more people tell me more things to help me get out of my anxieties. Like, look, I have muscular dystrophy. Believe it or not, I have a muscle disease. It's like, I don't know. My time could be limited. My father passed away from it at 67. He was in a wheelchair, so I have a lot of things that I'm worried about. Like, I want to get things done now. My family's okay, so if something does happen tragic, they're fine. They're good. They're okay. These are the things that I worry about because I don't know what my future holds. And I don't know. There ain't no cure. There's no medicine or medication that you can take. They're just always saying, well, we're hoping down the pipeline something comes out. So besides me having this disease, besides me having the anxiety that I have, I lost my father. I mean, I lost my mother-in-law. I lost everybody's dying off. So it's just me and my family. So I want to make sure that I'm there as much as I can possibly be for my wife and my kids and my mom.
That's living a life of that you can design, because you can design it.
Listen, it's all about what you want to be. And me having anxiety and me having muscular dystrophy is not a cry for like woe is me. I don't even think about this stuff. So anybody that is listening, if they have some type of handicapped or whatever the case may be, don't let that stop you from doing what you want to do. Just be positive as much as you can about it. I know that's easier said than done. It's like when you have a panic attack and someone's like, "Oh, you need to relax." I wish I could.
Thanks. Thank you.
I wish I could. It shouldn't stop you, and this doesn't stop me, and that's why I just continuously do it. And then hopefully, they come out with something and it cures it or stops it from progressing, and I'm good.
Well, I think that you definitely are not a victim to these issues that you have, and living your day each day and doing the best you can. And I think that's what I see you doing. I see you being the solution, which is what this podcast is all about. Better solution. I think, and I feel like you also like to contribute back to the real estate community, which is I think is really important as leaders in our communities, that we do give back to others and help them rise up. I see so many people giving up pretty easily. I was thinking the other day that anybody who wants to join in our organization, that they should shadow for a day in the life.
1,000%. And look, speaking on that, I had a stigma. People thought I was like this bully, and they thought I was this aggressive monster and this person that just was a show off from a prior team that I was on. And when they got to meet me in person and when I first came here, that was the stigma. It was like, well, I thought you were different. And for me, and I wanted to make sure that everybody understood that wasn't the case. And that's why I enjoy helping other agents, and that they can actually come to me and speak to me on a normal level and about business. And in this office, there's 156 agents. I almost talk to every one of them on a daily basis based on what they can do, what lead sources they can get into. Amanda, my director of operations, she does like postcards and how to do the EDDMs and all these different things. And we hold classes, and people really enjoy it. And they come up to me and be like, we really thought you were an asshole. I'm like, well, I mean, I'm Italian, so I can be one, right? But I wasn't that person that you thought I was last year, which
Why do you think about that?
I just feel where I was before, and I'm not talking negative towards the prior team. They do a great job. I just felt that the presence, and I think that, the leader of the team, he didn't really want to be involved with other agents. He didn't want to be around, like if there was a co-op, like I just had a co-op party last month, and I had over 50 people there during, what's that thing down in Atlantic City?
Triple play,
right. So there was, everybody couldn't show up, but I had over 50 people there. And the point of that party is to have just that, have a drink with somebody, invite them there, talk to them, because guess what? We need each other. If there's an offer out there that we need, or we need to speak to, like we're friendly, we're friends. I can call somebody and say, hey, what can we do? And and they can help us out. In the prior team, that leader really didn't want to do that. So it kind of gave them like, well, we have our noses in the air. So that's what they felt when I left. They're like, oh, here he comes. Here he goes. That's what it was. And then when I found out that I really wasn't that way, they would come up to me and be like, we really thought you were different. We thought you were a whole different person, which is great. It makes me feel better because at least now I can speak to them on a different level and they don't feel that way.
Perception, perspective, perception.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes we need a different perspective.
Well, it's all about meeting people in person and things. And so a lot of agents I'm friends with on Facebook, but never met me. So what do they see? Anthony, here he goes, annoying Anthony DiCicco posting about what house he's showing. Who cares, right? How many settlements does he have? They only see that, and they feel that that's the brag, right? But then when I have a co-op party, or they have a co-op party, I'll go, and then we'll have a conversation, and they'll just see that I'm not that person they thought I was, which makes me feel a lot better.
I'm sure. That is a challenge. I'm familiar with that challenge.
Hey, listen, I think it's very important to be in your community and be around other co-ops. It's very important that we all stick together because we need each other. There's no point in having a deal with somebody that just totally acts like an asshole. I'm sorry. I just don't feel that that's, and I can be one too, but when you have to turn on my switch. If you turn my switch on, then yes, here comes Anthony back from 1995. The person that I want to be. But the reason we're all there to do the same thing and get to the finish line, and that's at the settlement table, right? And make sure everything is just transparent.
Well, you have a lot of people also in the industry that I'm not sure that they know exactly what to do with the deals.
Trust me. It's almost like you got to do their job for them. And you don't want to, and you feel, I kind of feel bad because if they are a newer agent, they really don't know. And if they don't have the support at where they're working at, you can't be mad at them because they were never taught correctly, or they're, whatever it is, they were never in that situation. So I don't mind helping out and doing things. Sometimes, in the counties up here, we have to get UNOs and different inspections done, and they don't realize they have to call and do these things. They think the title company does everything, and not all title companies do them. So I'll chime in and help for them and order things and get it all done. Even sometimes I'll pay for them and then just get reimbursed.
So I'm going to switch gears for a minute. Outside of your family, because I know that's extremely important to you, what motivates you on the days that you just don't feel great?
Well, it's funny you say that because lately I haven't been feeling so good, right? Not health-wise, just I'm in my head because business is okay. I'm not saying that nothing, but it's not as, I feel that I should have more. And I think talking to other people, they're kind of feeling the same kind of slow transition right now. It's the end of the year, New Year, and it's January. People are starting to get ready and ramp up. The rates did come down, thankfully, but I just tell myself that it will get better. And it does. And it usually does. I do pray a lot. I know people probably think I'm nuts, but I pray a lot. I believe in just positive energy, and I believe in just feeling good. And I can be negative. And my wife will turn around and say to me, "Why are you being so negative? Stop being so negative." Right. So, and she's a great support system. My wife is a fantastic support system for me. If I didn't have her, I don't know where I would be, because when I'm down, she'll bring me right back up, and she'll say, look at you, what you accomplished. She'll point things out to me, and I'm like, you know what, you're right. So my wife helps me big time. And then Amanda, my director, she's another one. She's through thick and thin. She's been with me through the roller coaster ride of last year with Charbridges. She came with me. She followed me. She helped me, build our team that we have today. I look at all these things. These are all positive things in the right direction. My ownership here, they love me. They treat me like one of their own. I only been here since June, July. All these things help me get through the day, like I have been feeling in the past 2 weeks. They help me a lot, and then I come to the office, and then I feel accomplished because I'm getting things done, and then I'll get a bunch of showings, and then things start to happen. Things start to fall in place, and then at the end, my wife and Amanda will both see. Didn't I tell you so? So I'm learning to get out of that negative thought, because I feel the more negative that you're being, and this is a fact, the more negative that you're feeling, more negative stuff will happen. You'll never get out of that funk.
The most important real estate that you own is between here and here in your mind.
It's my mind.
It's the most important real estate that we own. And I think that I would say mindset is like the number one thing, because without that, having a clear and positive mind, then you can criticize, condemn, and complain about everything.
And that's me. And that's my dad. And then growing up, see, that's the thing. I was always held accountable. There's no excuse in my family. I grew up like Soprano style. We car business. My uncle, I had an Uncle Mario, Uncle Tony. Uncle Mario came around, you better watch, because you better be doing something. And that's the thing. I would make sure if I was at that dealership and I was detailing a car and there was nothing else to do, I better be sweeping something. Because if not, guess what? Guess who's coming to get me? Uncle Mario. He'll find something for me to do real quick. So believe me, I hold myself accountable, I think maybe more than I should, but it helps me. I think the worry helps me get into that extra drive, put it in 4x4 and just start rocking. Because now I'm in panic mode. So now I'm like texting, calling nonstop, doing whatever I can do to start getting phone calls, start getting people, going back to old leads. I had a lead from 2021. I just reached back out to them. And she's like, look, I'm going on vacation on Wednesday. When I get back, we're rocking. Set them up with the lender, get them pre-approved. Everything's ready for when they come back. So it's going back to the old leads and just trying to generate something that they didn't find the house yet and that I spoke to before. So I think my panic mode puts me to that next level of positivity.
So you have 1,200 people that you contact on a regular basis.
In my phone, in my text messages at all times. I can keep scrolling. It'll scroll for 2 minutes because that's how many people that I have in there. And it dates back to 2020.
So 2020, you started to track it.
Yes.
And
that was a big year. Let me tell you something. When COVID hit, I think every agent and realtor just stopped. Well, you couldn't really work, right? But I would sneak out here and there once in a while. But everybody got off of Zillow, except for me. I was still paying for it. And my leads turned in from like 15 a month to like 80 a month. I got it was insanity. It was crazy. And that's how I started building the pipeline. It's all about your pipeline.
It is all about your pipeline. It's all about following up. You could go on an appointment with somebody or talk to somebody 1, 2, or 3 times, but the sales happen on between 5 and 12 to convert to an opportunity. So I like to call people that we haven't done any business with yet opportunities instead of leads.
True.
Only because they're people.
Right. You're not just some number.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So the opportunities that are in front of us, and we know based on the conversions, because we use Follow Up Boss, we see that your contact to closed sale is 26.9 attempts. 26.9. That's without, the calls after they sign as a listing or buyer. but it's 26.9 attempts across the database. So if you have too many people to call or text or email, then you're not going to go deep enough with any of them to actually convert over. I think that's what a lot of people miss, Anthony. What do you think about that?
Listen, like I said, it's all about having systems in place. The more systems in place, I think the more you can scale and grow. I feel like I'm plateaued because I'm trying to do everything myself, and it's taking so much. Look, when you try to text 20 people, I guarantee you that's almost an hour and a half of your time, because
Me?
you have to do it.
Yeah, I could text 20 people in about 20 minutes or less.
Right. For me,
Because I use my follow-up boss.
exactly. So imagine doing it.
And I can't mass text, so they are all by hand, but I probably can do it in less than that. Probably maybe 10, 12 minutes.
I do it all manually. So now I have to go in there, and now remember the good morning text that I sent 2 weeks ago is now good afternoon. So I have to switch that up. You have to kind of switch up the text and then resend it. So you're doing it with 40 people. It's 2 hours. It's literally 2 hours.
If you use the system, though, follow-up boss, it would take you 12 minutes.
Exactly.
If you have all those people in a spreadsheet, you can get them into whatever CRM you're going to use, set it up, and then text them right from there. And then all the information is in one spot for that person.
We use Follow Up Boss, and I like Follow Up Boss too, because then you can put their information, birthdays, anniversaries, their home, 1 year home anniversary, and that gives you to get in contact with them to say, hey, happy birthday, or whatever the case is. Send them a little something in the mail just to stay in contact with them. That's so important. And not that I messed it up. I just feel that I got licensed in 2010, but I was full-time car business, right? So I was doing business on a part-time level, but more or less building houses and doing my own stuff until 2019 is when I became full-time.
So why did you decide to do that?
So the car business, let me tell you, it's not like it was from back in 2005, 6, and 7. That's when I used to sell 100 plus cars a month on Frankfurt Avenue. I mean, we were killing it. Then 2008 happened with the crash, and then the car market just went to crap. It just wasn't there. A lot of the lenders didn't want to sign up with independent dealerships. Independent dealerships are non-franchise. So I was a used car dealership on Frankfurt Avenue that probably held maybe 70 to 80 cars in inventory, right? But I was a marketing machine. I just loved the market and books and stuff like that. It just, profit-wise, it wasn't there. I would buy a car, run it through my shop, and then put it on the market to sell to make $1,000. And you're marrying the customer for 6 years for $1,000. It was at a loss. So at that point, I said, you know what? I just can't deal with this anymore. It's not working. We sold the dealerships on Frankfurt Avenue. We had an indoor warehouse in Bensalem that we were sending cars across country, stuff that we bought from auctions. And it was working it just got to a point where it was not working anymore. So I told my brother, I'm like, look, I'm going full-time real estate. We already build houses. We already know the industry. We already know what we're doing. Let's roll into it. And it took him a little bit to finally jump on board because he's been in the car business like me our whole lives. That's all we really did. And my father passed away. There were so many things to it that I was like, you know what? I'm done with it. And I went full-time. But when I went full-time, I wanted to go with a team that I knew was doing high volume. And that's what I did.
So you entered in 19 full-time.
November of 2019, right at the end, right before COVID hit.
Perfect timing.
But it turned out good, though. It turned out amazing.
Absolutely. Nobody knew what COVID would bring. Brought a lot of business into real estate.
It sure did. That was a good
news. And a lot of people into real estate.
Well, that's the other thing. That kicked off, right? Then you had a mass production of real estate agents all of a sudden. That was the problem. And now they're realizing that boom isn't really there right now.
We had 3.9 million sales last year in the U.S. We usually set about 6 million. So significant amount down. It's close to 40%, I think.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give somebody who is an entrepreneur to something that if you look back, you would have done differently?
For me to tell an entrepreneur?
Yes.
What if I would have done differently? Me personally, I would have bought property. I would have had a portfolio today, which I don't have any. I was always a buyer, a flipper, and I'll take the money and buy the next one instead of hold. I had deals in my hands that I probably could have retired. I'll be honest with you. I had a lot of deals in my hands. New construction that I built, multifamilies, just things that were just at the time Today they're real deals, but at the time they were still deals. And I wish I had that portfolio in my hands today, because it would have been good 50 houses at least that I could have had as a income, and I don't have it. So
Well, you have
that's something.
that's another set of issues.
Well, that's again, yeah, you're talking about other problems, but that's something that I should have did or should have had, and I didn't do it. I probably would have did the real estate. I probably would have stuck to real estate versus the car business. But then again, I look back, the car business is who made me who I am today as far as sales.
Right.
I can't really say that.
You can't really say that. I agree with you. I was in advertising sales. I sold radio for 11 years prior to the 20 years I'm hitting next month in real estate.
Nice.
And I would not where I am today if I didn't have those 11 years of experience.
I agree. I mean, the car business made me. My father was very hard. He's a great, everybody loved him, but he was very don't spend money. Typical Italian style, don't spend any money, don't do nothing stupid. He hated advertising. He was very basic with things, and he was comfortable doing that. And he made a good living by being basic. So then here comes me and my brother, the two Guidos from the Northeast. We want to change things up. We want to start doing it. He couldn't take it. He wanted to kill us. Even when we showed him that it was working, he still told us we were stupid. He still told you you're stupid. Then it came to a point where I'm like, Dad, I made $4,000 on this deal from the car lot or from the car. He goes, well, how much did you lower the price? I said, well, we had it listed for $12,000. I lowered it to $11,000. He goes, you didn't make $4,000. You lost $1,000. That's how he thought. That was his mind. You lowered the price. So you could have made $5,000 instead of the $4,000. So that's basically where how I was built and came into that today, based on that.
A lot of I know the car business. My father's still in it to this day, and he's been in it since.
God bless him. God bless.
Since 1983.
Wow.
However long that is. I think that's a long time.
That's I'm 44. I was in 79. So what's that? 40 years at least.
Yeah, almost 40. Yeah, 40 years.
Yeah.
40.
Well, God bless.
I convert him over to real estate for a long time.
Listen, once you're a car guy, you're a car guy. Trust me.
He was going to do it, actually, and then I don't know. It's a hard switch.
Listen,
you're well aware.
There it is. And not to mention, too, he's probably used to being at the dealership strictly only there, and then going home. Where if he's going to start running buyers around and this and that and inspections, you can really drive somebody nuts.
Well, the thing is, we're like one of the only industries, and I was thinking about this, where we have zero inventory, right?
Yep.
We have nothing.
I know.
Nothing. We have to make it all happen. We got to find the seller, then we got to find the buyer, or we got to find the buyer, whatever. And it's based on our hard work, our effort, our integrity.
I know.
Our professionalism.
Yep.
It's a very strange industry.
It's very, listen, and you got to see some of the things that I see when I'm showing houses. So remember, I have 20 years of contracting and building as far as in the real estate world. So I incorporate that with my buyers and sellers, because I want to make sure that when I walk through, I'm licensed, insured, and bonded. So I'm allowed to tell them that there's certain things wrong. And you go into some of these showings and I'll walk in and there's an agent sitting at the kitchen table, but their buyers are upstairs roaming around. And I'm just like, what is the point of hiring you? So they're listening to me tell my buyers about the house, that the windows are no good, and they're following me around. So when I see that really irks my soul, because it's like, you're hired to make sure that whatever they buy, you have your buyers in your best interest, right? So they're the same type that don't show up to home inspections. I go to all my home inspections no matter what, because number one, sometimes home inspectors can be wrong because it's all opinion. We know that, right? And to make sure that the buyers don't get the crap scared out of them, especially when I have a listing and I show up to those appointments too. And I was just at one 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. And the inspectors, well, I can't really inspect the chimney, but there's the flashing on the top is a little bent and there's water getting in. So you probably have a really bad black mold behind there. I'm like, wait a minute. Did you see black mold? Well, no, but I said, but you're telling a buyer right now, right? Who's a home buyer. You're telling them, and I'm saying this in front of everybody because that's just what it is. How are you giving that advice that there's black mold when you didn't inspect it? You just said you can't inspect the whole thing, and there's a little bent on the flashing. So you're automatically assuming that thing is filled with water and mold. So think about that. If I wasn't there and that buyer was there, that deal goes bye-bye is because of that, someone saying something like that. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy to me. Or a home inspector that puts on their reports how much things are going to cost. So I had another listing where they put that a fan in the attic was broken, and it was $9,000 to fix the fan in the attic. I went to Home Depot and bought it for $75, and I had my electrician install it, or I'm sorry, my HVAC guy install it for another $100. It cost me less than $200 to fix it. He put $9,000.
That sounds a bit negligent, but you do have that, and you have the experience. So you're, like you said, you are a contractor, so you can say that. Most agents cannot do what you just,
Yeah, but why? But why even do that? You don't know. Like, and when I question, because I call the inspector, and he's like, "This is what it is. Market. This is market price to the nation." I said, "What market price? Where are you getting the market price? You're making this up. There's no way that this is market price because Home Depot has 1,000 of them. You can buy any one you want, multi-speed, double speed, single speed. There's not one over $100." So I get really into that stuff. Like I'm real technical when it comes to the inspections because it's like it really twists me up when they do stuff.
It sounds like it. Somebody else handles that over here on my side. So
Yeah,
I'm the front person.
I like to do it. I like to be there and do these things. And maybe sometimes it's like
It's good. Everybody's different, right, Anthony? And everybody has something they're special at, that they're better than other people. And I think that's what makes all of us unique. And
yeah,
we all can't be everything for everybody.
Listen, we're not a jack of all trades. We try to be, right?
Well, I try not to be.
It could, because it can cause problems too.
I try to do the least amount of things possible that I'm not good at. I try not to do them.
I know. I hear you.
And focus on the ones that I am really good at to get better at. So practice until you can't get it wrong, not till you get it right.
Right. That makes sense.
Right. So you never will get it wrong.
Yep.
Everybody just wants to practice enough till they get it right.
Well, listen, and a lot of things, a lot of agents too, like they just want to go through they want to get the transaction on or the thing on their contract, and they just have nothing to do with the whole the whole transaction through time. That's another thing that drives me crazy. They want to do it. It's like, did you follow up with your client? Did you talk to them? Did you ask them if they're buying, if they want to go back into the property because they're allowed to go back 2 times on the contract? Like these things are just so important through the whole part of it and be a part. Because at the end of the day, when someone writes you a review at the end, it's all about the services you provided. And I wrote that today on a review that I got. Your services provided is what people are going to see for future potential clients. How many times do people say, "Hey, I read your reviews," or they'll call me from Google, "Hey, I read your reviews. I want to sell my house. Can you come?" I don't know how much more I can express that, especially to my own team members. So important.
So it is communication, I think, is the number one thing with clients. And actually, it's the number one reason why they get mad at the real estate agent or broker, because of lack of communication and transparency.
Yep.
And so I handle a lot of expired listings, and that's probably one of the top reasons what frustrations of these folks are. And I am with them. I said, you have to have clear communication.
Yep.
You have to be direct. You have to tell the truth. You have to know your numbers.
I agree.
They're critical.
Listen, and it happened the other day. I got an offer on one of my listings. Okay. They offer $35,000 over asking on a house in Mayfair. I called the lender because that's what I do. I vet everybody before I even do
Absolutely.
anything. Because you know what they do. They see credit scores and they approve. Well, guess what?
They don't have the money to close.
They approve this guy based off a credit score. They don't have any financials in place. They have nothing going on. They just based it off of what they told them. I said, I don't understand this day and age. This is what I can't even believe you did this, but whatever, fine. I said, call the agent. I said, look, your guys only approved by credit score. That's not how we're going to do this. So get the financials in and then let me know. 2 days later, I call back I call the lender. I said, hey, did you get, oh yeah, we got everything. They're pre-approved. I said, okay, good. So we're good on the price? Well, no, they're approved 50,000 less. So the price was 50,000. The offer was 50,000 less than what they offered. So I called the agent. I said, do you see how this can kind of went? You got to make sure that you look into every angle of this deal when they're getting pre-approved. Because, well, I just figured that I give them to the lender and the lender just takes over from there, and then they're pre-approved. The lender said they're approved, so I get it. That's how it's supposed to work. But you also have to make sure that financials were sent to them so they can run it through an IU or underwriting system to state that they're approved.
So part of the process has to be the buyer financial has to be the buyer BFI has to be signed when you
Yes,
sign the BAC.
correct.
And if you look at it and you see what's missing.
And I don't want to be a stickler. I'm not trying to be a stickler, but I have to. I represent my clients, and I have to make sure that. Can you imagine? I present them the offer, and then next thing you know, oh, wait a minute, they're not proof for what they offered. It just doesn't look. Then they're going to look at me and say, "Why didn't you know about this?" Well, it's not my client. I'm not the buyer. What, you didn't do your due diligence? You didn't check into it? You didn't make sure? As an agent, as a listing agent, you have to make sure that any deal you get, that you vet on what is giving to you.
Absolutely. Sometimes it takes days to have that happen because you don't have all the proper documentation. And we won't present the offer without the solid pre-approval and the BFI.
100%, because things can go sideways quickly.
Yep. Just like you just had it.
So these are just some of the things, the frustrations of the business. But new agent, again, I don't get mad at the new agent. I get mad of who's helping him. Where is support at? That's the support. Everybody on you see these brokerages all day long. We're hiring. This support, no fees, no this, no that. Okay, but what are you doing for the actual agent? It's themselves. Where's the mentorship? Are you taking them on listing appointments? Are you taking them on buyer showings? Are you letting them listen to you on the phone when a lead comes through? What are you doing? So they can hear how things are in real time are happening. And that's what I do with the agents that are on my team. It's if they're a new agent, it's mandatory.
Absolutely. So tell me, how do you get your information in regards to staying abreast of everything? Do you read books or do you listen to podcasts?
I do listen to podcasts, but more or less the information I get is based off of experience. These things happened to me when I was a new agent.
Live and learn.
That's it. I learned from my stupid. Listen, I'm still learning. But again, I was that agent too. I messed up on a lot of things or did stupid stuff, but I was a part-time agent at the time. No excuse. But I learned not to do it again. Look, I just had a bad situation happen to me in October. I had a listing in Bucks County. I sold it to a buyer in New Jersey who was an investor looking for rental purposes. And guess what? He couldn't rent the property because there's a rule on the HOA docs that state you have to live there for 2 years in order to rent the property. You know what kind of cluster that is? It wasn't on the resale cert. It wasn't on the original rules and regulations. It was a separate addendum of a link of the rules and regulations that no one even seen it, not even the title company's seen it. Because remember, when you get the HOA docs, you have to the buyers have to read everything, make sure they're not on there. So it was on a separate link they never put it in the actual docs. So now problem.
Yikes.
Right. So listen, things happen, but you have to figure out ways to help the situation and the right way.
Be the solution.
You got to be the solution. There you go.
So before we wrap up, Anthony, okay, 2 questions. Top predictions for 2024. What is the year going to be like in real estate? And your top favorite sources of business? So
I feel we're in election year, obviously, and they said they are going to, the rates did lower. And look, I hate to go off, right? It's like when COVID hit. Oh, the market's going to crash. Well, it didn't. It did the opposite effect. It went crazy. And we're still, things are still happening that way. I think it's going to be a good year. I think it's starting off a little bit slow, and some agents may be busy right now, which I hope they are. I think in the end, it's going to be an extremely strong year. I think 2025 is going to be even a better year, in my opinion. I think we're going to do well.
So you're optimistic.
I'm very optimistic. And again, remember, even when there's a bad situation, try to make it into a good situation. And I feel that you can strike while the iron's hot and just keep ripping and running with it.
Business in every market, Anthony. There's business in any market.
Absolutely.
It's all about what is we make our own economies.
I agree. And I feel that someone that wants to be a top producer and wants to get to that level, if they do the right things, if they do the Google reviews, if they do the open houses, if they do the lead source, if they go on social media, remember, social media is free. Instagram is free unless you want to do sponsor ads. All these things, all your branding, all these things help you gather business and show other people that you're doing business, and that will always give you business. They will always call you for that because you're constantly doing it. If you're going to post once a year or once a month, no one knows who the hell you are. Sorry. If you're not going to spend money and invest in your business, it's never going to scale. It's a fact. So if they do those things, call me, listen to me, and I promise you, they'll be put into the right direction.
So top 3 sources.
For business, lead source, 100%. You need phone ringing. You got to have your phone ringing, whether you can afford Zillow, whether you can afford realtor.com, whatever it is, get on a lead source. You need your phone ringing. Database is actually on top of what the first one. That is big time. If you do have a database, you do have some years in the business, and you can go back to that. I am sickened by what I've seen for the last 10, 15 years that I didn't get called for the houses that I sold prior. So database is very important. And then systems. Have some type of CRM, some type of system in place that makes your life easier, so then you can focus on other business while the CRM is helping you maintain the current business or prior business that you had.
Yeah, absolutely. Database is critical. Talking to the database.
100%.
I send out tons of videos. I don't know if you get them, but
I watch I try to one, but every day I say, like, I got to start doing stuff, because video is where it's at. And I just look ugly on camera. So.
Oh, please, you do not.
I'm just like, Jesus.
Guess what? Everybody thinks they look like crap. Mostly everybody I talk to who do, that's why they don't want to do it. I don't like the way I look. I'm like, well, get over it, because that's the way you look.
I agree with you. And
you don't look bad on video, Anthony.
That's where I'm at.
You're a handsome guy.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Come on.
At 44 years old, I'll take that compliment.
You're good. You're good. I'm older than you, almost a decade. So
Jeez.
I'm still rocking and rolling.
That's amazing. And I believe me, I watch you and I look up to you. I think you do an amazing job. And I tell everybody, and even everybody on my team, they love, watching your stuff. They always tell me that.
Yes. Come to the event next week.
Yeah. Who's there? Bruno and Stacy are going to be there, right? Is that the one we're talking about?
Al Perry, Kristen McFeely,
nice.
Lisa Risco, a lot of people.
That's good.
I think there's 8 guests.
Where is it? Is it the same place that we did the other?
Same place, and we're going to do 2 panels.
Oh, beautiful.
So it should be a good event.
Absolutely.
I'll give you the link, but come.
Absolutely.
9 to 12.
Okay. Good stuff.
Great to see you, Anthony. I wish you the best in 2024. We'll have you on towards the end of the year to see where you're at.
Absolutely.
But God bless you and your family, and keep on rocking.
Thank you, Maria. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
You're welcome.